This is a highlight of the Off Topical podcast. Listen for free to the whole episode at offtopical.net. So there's a big Facebook bug that has affected reportedly 6.8 million people on Facebook. What do you think about this, Raven?
Yay!
I
Again,
know.
with the leaking. Like at this point, it's not even a surprise anymore. And I firmly do not believe it was only 6.8 million.
No, I don't.
I don't. I think it was everyone. And you know, at least they warned people about it. You know, at least they did something about it. You know,
they wrote
that.
They wrote a blog post and it said, "We're sorry."
Yep, you're thinking of that South Park thing with the BP spill, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep. We're sorry.
Sorry.
Like if you were really sorry, then you'd be in jail. But you know, you're clearly not sorry. Because honestly, that's the only thing that's going to keep these companies. And I know, companies are supposed to prevent, like, you know, because you don't want people going to jail for things that, like, you know, the company as a collective did. But it's like, you know, if this was the first time in Facebook's history, it would be like, oh, this sucks. But this is the first time in 14 or 15 years that they've existed that it's actually happened. You know, that's a pretty good record because no one expects software to always be secure.
Right.
That's impossible. But this is like a 2 or 3 times a year garbage every year.
Oh, yeah.
For like what, the past 10 years?
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's like at this point, there needs to be some kind of accountability.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the link that you sent me for this story was to a report about Irish regulators who are opening up an investigation about this. And their statement to the media was, Facebook is sloppy. That was their statement. Like, Facebook has a track record of being sloppy about privacy. And I think it's good that somebody, especially the Irish government, because like Facebook don't they have like a headquarters in Ireland?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so
to avoid taxes, they have to.
Let's hope that they get slapped with a huge fine and some like other penalties for this, because you know, basically, if you guys don't know what's going on, Facebook exposed a bunch of people's private photos, even photos that were uploaded and not actually shared on the user's timeline, to 1,500 third-party apps. So 6.8 million people had private photos that they might have sent through Messenger, photos that they might have like posted to like the Facebook market, and these apps had access to all of them.
It's the same problem Google had with Google Plus.
It is.
Very similar problem. Very similar problem.
And it's like, Facebook's like, oh yeah, over the course of 12 days, any app that used our API might have had access to this. And it's like, at a certain point, don't you think that like when you have these kind of vulnerabilities that just keep popping up, do you think that they're like bugs, or are they a feature? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't trust Facebook anymore. Like, they have absolutely no leg to stand on when they say, I'm sorry. They have nothing I mean, this is just what you can expect from Facebook. They're going to leak your, quote, leak your data, and you know, and you have no recourse. Thankfully, you know, like I said, the Irish regulators are getting in on this. I mean, but it's just insane to me that, like, we've allowed it to happen for however long Facebook has been around. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, part of this, and this is probably like a really unpopular opinion here, but part of it is because they just don't hire good programmers. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. Google, Facebook, they have amazing programmers. But for every amazing one, they probably have 20 that are terrible. And it's not because that these people are bad programmers in the sense that they're just, you know, they've been programming for 20 years and they're still bad. You know, Facebook, Google love college grads. They love college grads. And college grads are great for filling a seat. Right. But, you know, what Microsoft and Google and Facebook, they've been pushing out their older, more experienced, wiser, expensive staff. And they've been replacing them with not, you know, either fresh college grads, you know, they've just been replacing them with terrible programmers in the sake of, like, you know, every company does this.
It's for the optics.
Yeah, Yeah, it's not just that. It's not just that. The software industry as a whole has a big problem where older people are shunned. Like, you know, by the time I'm like 40 years old, it'll probably be hard for me to get a job because no one wants a 40-year-old software engineer because they cost too much. But on the other hand, a 40-year-old software engineer can probably write an API or a security system, rather. I don't think it was the API's problem specifically, but it might have been. But they would have probably have written the entire system so that, you know, it doesn't expose everything. You know, Microsoft did this. Remember when, what was it, Steve Ballmer left and the other person took over, and then they just fired all those people? Yeah. And a lot of those people, not all of them, but a lot of them were very experienced staff. Well, they didn't fire them. They laid them off, so to speak, or whatever they called it. I forgot what it was. Gave them an early retirement. I can't remember. Because they wanted to be nice about it. They didn't want everyone to question it. But there is a real problem in the software industry as a whole, discriminating against people because of their age.
Yeah.
That's actually more of a problem than discriminating against their gender or their racial background. But age discrimination is a problem in the tech industry because older people cost more. However, older people are more experienced because, you know, programming is an art of, you know, you learn from your mistakes and you learn from practice and repetition. So if you've practiced programming every day, at least 5 days a week, within 20 years, you're going to be pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to, you know, you're going to develop problems. You're going to have experienced all this stuff. But a fresh college grad, they're going to know what to do. It's not necessarily their fault. You know, they do the best job they can. And I'm sure it's not just the college grad's problem either. It's probably also some executive who has no idea how programming works, like is rushing out this feature out the door because they really want it now and they need it now and it fits their timeline. And, you know, so it gets pushed out before it's ready, and then they have to play the catch-up game while it's out in the wild. You know, it's a whole host of issues. It's not just one problem. But, you know, one really good way to stop that would be to start hiring all the older people who actually know what they're doing. Because I'll be honest with you, I firmly believe that Facebook, Google, Microsoft, all these companies, one reason why their software is so bad is because they don't hire good programmers anymore. They hire people that are going to eventually be good programmers, but you need someone to guide them, to teach them, you know, to mentor them. So they just fire most of them. I don't know. Maybe that got a little personal because, you know, I haven't experienced it because I'm not old enough yet. But like, I every time you see that, you know, this company has like fired all these, you know, older experienced people. It's like, what in the hell are you thinking? Fire the young ones first.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't get rid of your most experienced staff. You get rid of your least experienced staff. But, you know, like I said, too, old people cost more money.
Right.
And that's all Facebook cares about is money. So, therefore, they make a crappy product.
Yeah.
Maybe that was too much of a personal tangent.
No,
I cannot stand how companies don't put quality into their work anymore.
Right. Well, it's the same. I mean, that's just how it is, you know, and it's terrible. I hate it. Like, you know, it's not just in the software world either. It's like, you know, companies all over the world, you know, do as much as they can for as cheap as they can get away with. Right. It's like they don't even care that like the battery that goes in the phone can only last like 1,000 recharges before it dies. You know, they don't even care that like a door hinge on a car will like fall to bits after 2 years of being used in the wild, because, you know, they don't care at that point. You know, they've sold you the car, they don't give a crap anymore.
Warranty's gone. Everything else. Yeah. What was it? I think it was Chevy, or was it Chevy, GMC? It was one of the car makers. It wasn't Ford. It was one of the U.S. car makers. To save like a dime or something, they used like the wrong, I forget what it was. You know, I'm gonna find this later. I'm not gonna talk about it here. But basically they used like the wrong like screw or spring or something. I can't remember what it was. And it was all to save a dime. And it ended up causing like an entire line of cars. Like they ended up having to recall not just one line, but multiple lines into the shop to replace with a 50-cent part.
Yeah.
And they did it. They played, you know, Russian roulette with it. Like, maybe this won't be a problem and maybe it'll just work and then we'll save a dime on every single car we sell. But you know, that's not the only area they did that. You know, they did it all over the car. So they made probably an extra grand or two, and now they're like, yeah, this will make, but then, you know, when you have to call all those vehicles in and, you know, you have to pay a mechanic, you have to put the part in, you have to ship the part, you know, all this other stuff. You know, did they really save money at that point?
Right. Well, you know,
like, why not just build a quality product.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that bothers me, and people like say that I'm like, you know, some kind of liberal or socialist or whatever. I just believe that, you know, that like the economy shouldn't be a gambling casino. You know, like you should take pride in your work, do good work, create good products, and be successful because of that. But it's like you said, it's like they're releasing these products into the wild where they use substandard parts that, you know, they're taking a gamble. Is it going to fail or not? If it fails, we'll lose money, but if it succeeds, we'll make a ton more money. That shouldn't be allowed, man. Like we should actually hold.
Well, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. Well, they got fined for it. But the problem is you have to catch it.
Exactly.
So that's the problem. And you know me, like I am a diehard capitalist. I make no issues.
Right.
I love telling people that because, you know, one, it makes some people really angry, and that's just amusing. But also too, you know, like, I've always believed that like a company should put out quality work, whether it's Facebook or Google or Microsoft, or, you know, insert random car company or anyone. You should always put out good work, regardless. Like, I don't think that's really a socialism or a capitalistic issue. Right. Honestly, if you're a capitalist, you should put out better work because then you can just steamroll over your entire competition.
Yeah. See, the thing, like,
so,
I agree with you on just about everything. It's like, you know, what you're saying here. It's like, you know, I would consider myself somewhat of a capitalist, but I feel like we don't live in a capitalist world anymore. Like,
not anymore. No, we don't.
What we live in is like, you know, a consumerist, you know,
corporatism.
Yeah, that's what it is. Corporatism, where it's like protect the corporation.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. I have a friend who is I forget where he used to work, but now he's a blacksmith. No joke, he's a blacksmith. And who would have thought in 2018 you can make a living being a blacksmith? A really good living.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you know what his #1 product is? It's not horseshoes, by the way. But do you know what his #1 product is? That he makes?
Phone cases.
No.
I have no idea.
No, he's a blacksmith, dude.
Come on, a phone case made out of cast iron? Come on.
Yeah, I know. It'd be like heavy as hell, like lift it up, you know? Like, you know, get struck by lightning because your fucking iron or steel phone case like attracts it.
Yeah.
No, it's scissors.
Scissors?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He sells handmade scissors that he makes from scratch, and they're expensive. They're like $75-$80. But anyway, apparently the reason he's selling so many is because everyone who asks is tired of buying scissors all the time. And I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, I can't remember the last time I bought a pair of scissors, but if you think about it, all scissors these days are either quote unquote self-sharpening, which is full of shit, and, you know, like they break, you know, like the middle piece, you know, like it'll kind of like come apart, you know, there's no real way to screw it back together on most of them.
Right.
Or they're just trashy and junky. And his, you can just screw the middle back in if it gets loose. And if the scissors get dull, you just sharpen them.
That's really
cool. So they'll
cool.
last you forever. Yeah, it's incredible. I have a pair. They're really nice, actually.
Yeah. That's so
They're very
cool.
expensive.
I can imagine. Holy crap.
But it's really funny because his best-selling product is scissors. I'm like, okay. But it just goes to show, if you make a quality product, no matter how expensive it is, if it's quality, you can actually find people that will buy it.
Yeah.
And he makes a living off of it. I mean, that's all he does. He does other stuff, too. He makes knives, horseshoes. There's all kinds of stuff he can make. He's getting into bigger stuff. You know those YouTube channels where people make really cool swords from like anime and stuff in video games? He really wants to do that, but he doesn't have a big enough shop to do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like saving up for it and getting all the tools because he wants to get into stuff like that. I mean, he can do some of it, but not like he could probably do it, I suppose. But, you know, he also has to work on stuff that actually pays money.
Right.
So he gets kind of held back because of that. But I was like, you know, he eventually wants a bigger shop with like employees so he can go fuck off and, you know, do the ridiculous stuff that, you know, it's like, dude, why are you doing this? But it looks cool, you know?
Yeah, that would be, that'd be cool though, to have like a YouTube channel like that.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you want to have a YouTube channel where you make cool anime swords? Or what do you think about the Facebook bug? Let us know on the forums.
Yeah, bug.
The bug, quote unquote. on the forums, forum.heavyelement.io. You can send us an email, show@offtopical.net, or you can hit us up on Twitter. I am at the Linux Gamer, and he is Raven67854. What you just heard is a highlight from the Off Topical podcast. Listen to the full episode for free over at offtopical.net.